Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." This is the Great Commission. This is our mandate. This year on Commission Africa, the team's journey takes them back into some of the most remote regions of the continent as they share the love of God and the good news of the gospel with people who have never heard of the saving power of Jesus. Their epic journey starts from the coastal town of East London, South Africa. After rendezvousing with expedition leader Pastor Andre Raybert and his family in Port Alfred, the team will venture north through Cradock and up to Kimberley, where they'll delve into part of South Africa's rich history at the Big Hole. From there, the trip continues north into Kuruman, where the team will delve into the history of Dr. David Livingstone. The team will then cross South African borders and enter Botswana, where they'll spend time absorbing some of the continent's spectacular beauty, marveling at the wildlife and surroundings of the Kalahari Reserve, and venture up to Shakawi to witness the breathtaking Okavango Delta. From there, they'll cross briefly onto Namibian soil, stopping over at Katima Mulilo before crossing into Zambia and teaming up with Phil Smithers and Dr. Rodney Howard-Brown. Over the next few days, they'll brave the treacherous Zambian roads to reach Sananga for the main outreach of the journey. They will spend nights in a remote tribal village and reach a people so remote that they had yet to see white people in their land. Lastly, the team will venture back into Namibia and explore the majestic Etosha Pan and witness its flooding, a phenomenon seen only once every few decades before the long return journey home. Before the team can begin their journey, every detail of the trip must be meticulously planned so that any eventuality may be prepared for. Everything from production to food supply is covered to ensure maximum efficiency on the journey. All equipment is thoroughly explained and inspected before the vehicles are loaded and checked and the journey can commence. The team arrives early at headquarters as to get a head start on the 3-week journey.
I feel kind of excited, second year around. Hopefully it's going to be much better than last year.
I'm very excited. We are about to leave.
Final adjustments are done on vehicles and the team is ready to depart. The first leg of the journey is to Port Alfred, where the team will rendezvous with Pastors Andre and Jenny Raybert before continuing on their expedition.
We can't wait to go, and it's just the perfect time as well. After days of glory, we're just going to chill out, enjoy the animals. Yes, we do have to work, but it's still going to be a great escape just to enjoy the wild and the natural with a stunning team.
A little bit nervous, but really, really excited at the same time, and looking forward to seeing all the cool places. So it's going to be good.
After a prayer for protection on the road ahead, the team is on their way to Cradock, where they'll be spending the first night of the expedition. En route just outside of Grahamstown, a natural spring can be found gushing from the nearby mountains. The team stops for a quick drink.
Just outside Grahamstown, great spring water coming out of the mountain, one of the most natural springs in this whole area, so we can fill up and we got good water.
With their thirst quenched, the team is ready to hit the road. They haven't driven far, however, when they experience the first vehicle breakdown of the trip. Just outside of Bedford, the rear brakes of one of the vehicles named the Beast have failed.
We've identified the problem. Now what we've got to do is we've got to try and reroute these brakes. The pipe, the guys that did the suspension rerouted the pipe next to the tire, and it's actually chafed right through. So we're going to need to take that pipe off, reroute it, and try and bind the pipe. See what we've got in our spares. Welcome to Africa.
With some ingenuity, the brake line is plugged and the convoy can continue on its way to Cradock, where the vehicle can undergo a more thorough repair.
We just pulled away, and we're going to try and get to Cradock, which is still about half an hour's drive. So like I mentioned before, we're driving with 3 wheels braking at the moment. The first available Mercedes dealer is in Kimberley or in Port Elizabeth. So we're going to try and do the Kimberley one, which we'll only reach tomorrow. So by faith, we'll make it. So yeah, we're going to stop over in Cradock tonight, sleep over, and then we'll just have a look at the system again and just double check everything if we don't pick up any problems down the road.
Thankfully, the temporary fix holds without further damage being sustained by the vehicle. The team pulls on to Orion Vehicle Repair Center in Cradock.
Found a place that does hydraulic pipes, makes up hydraulic pipes. Hopefully they can help us.
Finally, the beast is up and running again. After a quick refuel for the vehicles, which provides an opportunity to pray for someone in need, the team makes their way to Mountain Zebra National Park, where they will be spending the first night of the trip. The first night's stay is critical, as it plays a huge role in familiarizing everyone with their functions in setting up camp and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. That way, once the team reaches remote areas in the days ahead, they are well prepared. With long days on the road, sufficient rest is vital to the crew's travel safety.
Well guys, well done. I think great day all around. We finally got here before dark. That was our mission. And we're camping tonight over here at Cradock. We could only get this far because of the breakdown that we had, but we managed to get guys to sort us out and get us back on the road enough to get to Kimberley. We need to make Kimberley tomorrow before they close. So that's the goal. So we want to drive as hard as we can all day tomorrow to get to Kimberley, because we've got the spare part waiting for us. Once we've got the spare part connected, then again we're on the road and we're ready to roll. So I think we're going to sleep tomorrow night in Kimberley, and we'll go and have a look at the big hole. So we're going to just take a look at that, and we're going to get a good campsite there, and we'll sleep there, and then we'll hit the road the next day, and we should be able to get to Kuruman. Kuruman's our destination. That's where we're trying to get. And we got some exciting things to see at Kuruman, which will be the day after tomorrow.
The team rises early the next morning to break camp and ready themselves for the day ahead. After a quick debriefing, they depart and make their way to Kimberley. After a long day's journey, they arrive at the Ritchie River Resort. After setting up camp and ministering to the locals, the team goes over the travel plans for the next few days. It's another early morning for the team as they break camp and prepare for the day's journey. With everything in order, they make their way to one of South Africa's national heritage sites, the Big Hole of Kimberley.
Our journey has taken us to the town of Kimberley, where Kimberley is known for the big hole of Kimberley.
That's right, it's a huge big mining hole. It's actually the largest man-made hole in the world, I found out. And this is where they mined beautiful diamonds that South Africa is so famous for, here in the Northern Cape, Kimberley.
With the visit being a first-time experience for most of the team, they enlist the help of tour guide Chris.
So the big hole was discovered in the 16th of July 1871. So that part here, this is the part of digging by hand. So the depth of digging by hand is this 215 meters. So from here until to the surface of the water here is 174 meters. So the water inside there stands only here, 41 meters. So this is the natural water of the underground. It's changing its color to be green and blue natural. They make that shaft in 1892. So they started drilling here. After drilling, putting the explosive, making that shaft, and after that they started making those tunnels. So after that they started working under the water. So the diamonds that comes out from there, the hole from here until here, is 14,504,566 carats. So they stopped mining here in 1914 because of the First World War, and that was not the value of the diamonds was not so good, so they stopped there. So they cannot go further than that because it was too expensive to go down.
Bringing a multitude of innovations to the country with its conception, Kimberley was the first town in South Africa to boast electric street lights.
All the diamonds that comes out here was full of that. The 14,504,66 carats was here inside here. That one is the John Flower. Used to crush the stones in the olden days when the people used to dig that all by hand. So they put the stones on top of the ground. After that, John Flower used to run on top of that. It was one of the crush.
Here we're looking at some kimberlite stone. You can actually see it busy glycering. It's busy reflecting. Now, that, Chris, is worthless. I mean, there's no value to that.
Yeah.
So don't think if you pick up a shiny stone that it's all it's made out to be, because the shiny stone means absolutely nothing. But as they break this open, whole diamonds are actually found inside. What I want you to understand is the Word of God says there is potential inside every one of us. And even although you're looking at this rock and you're saying, well, you know, it maybe doesn't look like it should right now, inside of here is something called a diamond. There could be, but in your case, there is. God wants to deal and take all of these rough edges off of your life, and when all of this rough edges are removed off your life, that which God destined for you to be on the very inside comes to light, and you can become what God has for you.
The team continues its tour with a visit to a simulated mine.
Right, that one is the chute. The cocoa pen stands here. When they open it, the rocks comes out, filling inside in this cocoa pen. So two people is pushing that cocoa pen full of kimberlite stones inside. This is the old grease tables that was being used in the olden days. We put grease on top of that. When the diamonds and the stones comes out, the diamond sticks and the rock falls down.
The tour winds down with a look at some of the diamond displays and one last view of the big hole.
What an experience we've had here at the Kimberley Big Hole. A really great tourist attraction, 240 meters across, just over 170 meters down to the water. Many men lost their lives here digging for that wealth, Jen, and trying to get hold of diamonds.
That's right, and unfortunately they had to stop, bring everything to a halt when the First World War came out. So in 1914 they stopped everything, and it's just never been able to resume because it's so unsafe now. But we believe that right under there, right underneath the water, because this is natural water as well, so right underneath by the solid blue ground, they call it, under the rock falling, there's plenty more diamonds to be mined, but nobody's actually gone and done it. Nobody's put money into it to go and get those diamonds, but unfortunately since then all the ground around they've been using to get industrial diamonds, but the real treasure's still under there.
The team is back on the road, making their way to Kuruman, where they'll spend time at the Mary Moffat Museum, learning more about their forerunner in the faith, Dr. David Livingstone. They meet up with local Reverend Manari Petso, who leads them through the mission site.
So this is called the Missionary Road that we're standing on right now.
Right, that's the missionary
And this was used by missionaries, traders, explorers.
That's right.
All right, traveling all the way.
All the way
And
to Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia.
behind us is the garden.
That's the garden.
Okay, this is the Mary Moffat Garden. Okay, what was significant about this garden?
This garden, they planted mealies, maize and corn, vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah, to feed the community.
Okay.
It was really for the community.
Now this canal, you say it's 5 kilometers all the way from the eye.
the eye.
Now the eye, it's a spring.
Yeah, that's a spring that they say it. You know that spring, it's got millions and millions of water there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's used for irrigation all over, and it's just one of the most amazing natural springs.
Yeah. They say Moffat Livingstone was attacked by a lion in Botswana,
That's right.
and he came back to this place.
Yeah.
And Mary's, the daughter
Yeah.
was called Mary too.
That's right.
Okay.
So she took care of Livingstone. And being a nurse, nursed her. And one day they just got under the tree.
Yeah.
He proposed love to Mary. I
Really?
want to marry you.
Come on, show me the tree. Let's go take a closer look. This is the tree. This is all that's left. The tree when love came on Dr. Livingstone. Let's just look at the sign over here. I find this quite interesting, and I mean, this is known as the Love Garden, and this is the area. But yeah, he makes a statement. Livingstone said these words. He learned the truth of Jesus' words. There is no one who has left house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or lands for my sake and for the gospel who will not receive 100-fold. These are the men and the missionaries of what we're wanting to see, because this is about laying down your life for others. This is about lives that have been touched and changed. And so I want to challenge you to consider doing something out of the ordinary. You know, loving someone today, just telling someone about Jesus today, just going the extra mile. You know, yeah, he would leave family and children in Kuruman all the way into Africa, months and months away from family and loved ones. And all we got to do is just for one moment to our neighbors, to all those around us, tell people about Jesus. But yet we choose not to. So my encouragement to you today is do something. Let's learn from the men of old. Let's learn from men that traveled around the nation in the early days as missionaries. And let's choose to make a difference. If you make a difference, if I make a difference, if every one of us just make a little bit of a difference today, imagine what a different place the world will be. This is a very interesting homestead. This is where David and Mary lived. You said he came here, Reverend, no place to live, and they actually built this house. Tell us about it.
Well, this place, they bought this place from a chief called Mutibi.
Okay.
And he gave them this place. So they started to build from nothing. They built this house where they stayed.
Yeah.
You see, if you go at the back, you'll find that the yard is so wide, you know. That's where families spend their time together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now also an interesting point is this is where he translated the Bible. And took the whole Bible, translated it, printed it in Setswana, and completed that first translation in 1857. So I mean, you standing in history with us as we're sharing with you just some of the interesting facts that took place right here. This is where it all happened. So let's go take a look inside.
Further exploration provides snapshots of what everyday life may have looked like at the mission site.
So this was a very interesting place right here. This is the backyard of the Moffat residence, and coming out the kitchen, this is where he would just spend time with the Lord, just waiting. And this is his quarters, where Dr. David Livingstone actually slept. A man that's made such a mark in history, slept and lived in a place just like this. What a humble man he was. Yeah, you know, and I mean, just so much history all over, all the nations we've been to, whether it's been Zambia, whether it's been Malawi. This is a man that's had an impact. Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, I mean, basically many, many nations. Well, we're standing at the entrance of a church that took 9 years to build. Yes. And Tumi, great to meet you. And thank you so much. Tumi, tell us a little bit about this church.
Okay, this church was built they started building it in 1829.
Right.
And it was completed in 1838.
9 years.
Yeah, it took 9 years.
Yeah.
Because the reason was we didn't have during those years, they didn't have tall trees around here. So Robert Moffat got these trees from Chief Mzilikazi.
Okay.
Yeah, in the northwest at Madikwe.
Okay.
So after getting those trees, those tall trees, Mzilikazi gave them to Robert Moffat so that he can come and complete the church. So that's why it took 9 years.
Okay. Is the church still used today?
Yes, it is still used today.
Okay.
We normally used it we've got morning devotions from Monday to Friday. And also for weddings,
okay,
baptisms and all that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, come on, take us inside. Let's have a look.
Thank you.
Standing in the very church now, where right here, Livingstone and Mary Moffat got married.
Yeah.
And here the floors are actually made of dung.
Yeah.
So this is a dung floor. You can actually feel it under your feet as you walk on it. What an amazing facility. The original beams from the chief. I mean, to think that those original beams are still up here today. Literally, 150 years ago.
Yes.
And this is the church. Still weddings today. Still
Yes.
baptisms today. Happening right over here. So we standing in history.
The team takes a look at the invention which in all of history has made the biggest contribution to the spreading of the gospel.
This is the printing press that printed the first Setswana Bible. In all languages in Africa, the Bible was first translated into Setswana.
And they did it right here in this little print shop right here.
Yes.
My goodness. Absolutely
And
amazing.
it's still working even today.
Still works today?
Yes, this is still working.
All right, and that's basically the movement.
Yes. We put the setting tape, we put underneath, and then we close,
Yeah.
and then you press.
That's amazing.
There, and then you just take it
Take
out.
it out, lift it up.
Lift it up,
Put-
hang it there so that it can dry.
Okay, that's what all the pegs are for, to actually dry the front.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I can say for sure is technology has come a long way since those early days. But you know what? How relevant was this in those early days? My question to you again is, how relevant are you to spreading the gospel? Well, believe it or not, we're sitting in a classroom, one of the very first classrooms in South Africa to be built. Although it's outdoors, this is where the actual classroom was.
Yeah, this is where the actual classroom was. This school was started also by the missionaries because the missionaries felt that there was no use for Robert Moffat. Robert Moffat felt that there's no use for him to translate the Bible, to translate it to Setswana, wild people, they don't know how to read.
Okay.
So that was the main purpose for him to build the school, so that people can also learn how to read and how to write.
I think it's quite significant as well that the person who actually was involved in building our first schoolhouse, he was an escaped slave, which is it's amazing how that happened. So we know that knowledge means freedom. Knowledge brings life, it brings light, and it's completely opposite to slavery. So to have an escaped slave build a place of knowledge is honestly just an amazing accomplishment and something that will certainly keep on going down in history as completely amazing.
All right, so this is where many, many young children from many different walks of life, many different backgrounds came and learned to read and write. And not only did they just learn to read and write, but they learned to read the Bible that had been translated in this amazing place.
Following their inspirational time at the Moffat mission site, the team pushes on towards the Botswana border.
Well, it's been a long day on the road, and we haven't got to where we wanted to get, but we've got pretty close. We've got about 25 kilometers still to go, and the sun has set, and we're on this road out in the middle of nowhere trying to get to the Botswana border. We're going to camp about 30 kilometers short of the border place that we've established. We'll set up camp there for tonight, get a good night's rest, early morning breakfast. The weather's great, the temperatures are good, and Lord willing, we're going to cross the border early tomorrow morning into the wilds of Botswana. We'll be traveling on some of the most amazing roads tomorrow to get to where we're going to be tomorrow night, and absolutely rural campsite. 100% we have to be self-sufficient, and we're really looking forward to it. So after a good night's rest, finally, Botswana, here we come.
Stay tuned for scenes from the next episode. Next time on Co-Mission Africa, the team finally arrives in Botswana, where they truly experience Africa. The challenging roads, sightings of the continent's most dangerous wildlife, and breathtaking scenery. All of this and more, next time on Co-Mission.